Hmm. Sorry about that. Give me one more, 10 more seconds. Okay. Do you see the verse? 9:24:62?
Yes, I do. Wonderful. Oh, good. And my face isn't up. That's great. Just a mess. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my obeisances. Now, if it is true that the devotees are desire trees, then I would like to pick the fruit of your blessings to help me to speak only that which is pleasing to the devotees' ears and their hearts, and pleasing to my Guru Maharaj's heart, and pleasing to Krishna. I was telling Ananda Bihari how nervous I am giving these classes. I have not done a lot of them, and my heart races and my mind goes empty. Like I have all these ideas, and then right as soon as the class begins, my mind goes blank. I'm like that guy on stage. Actually, I'm not like, I am that guy on stage who doesn't remember his lines. So I'm going to ask you all that when I read this verse, that you think of any ponderings yourself, any points that you might have yourself, any questions that you might have. Ask anything. Because as my wife said, I was really down the last class I gave afterwards. I was really down. My wife said, what's the matter? What's the matter with you? She's Italian. And I said, I totally spoke out of my pay grade. It was totally confusing. I'm so embarrassed. And she goes, well, it takes great skill to give a good lecture. And I said, yeah. And she goes, and you don't have that skill. So I said, thanks. And she goes, well, do you want me to lie to you? And I said, but that's why I got married. And she goes, well, that's not why I got married. I will always tell you the truth. So let it be said that I'm going to try to speak. I have my hand raised now. I swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Ananda Bihari, you were a lawyer, right?
Used to be.
Used to be. Have you ever been in court? Yeah. Oh, that's frightening. All right. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 9:24:62. It's a wonderful verse. I was telling Ananda Bihari, at least I do not have to try to explain having a baby, child out of wedlock with the sun god, and how we're not supposed to be doing that kind of thing. That was definitely not my forte. But let us go on with this verse here. The Sanskrit, Yasmin Satkana Payus Payuse Yashashpyata Vare Sakrit Strotran Jalia Upas Prisya Dunute Karma Vasanam. The synonyms. Yasmin, in the history, it's wild. Here you have one or two words, and then you have like a whole sentence explaining it. Prabhupada always puts things in context. Yasmin, in the history of the transcendental activities of Krishna upon the surface of the earth, or in one word, Leela, Sat Karna Payuse. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who pleases the demands of the transcendental purified ears. Yashatyata vare. Keeping oneself in the best of holy places by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Sakrit, once only and immediately. Strota Anjali, in the form of hearing the transcendental message. I'm probably murdering these Sanskrit words. Upastrisya, touching, exactly like touching the water of the Ganges. Dunute, destroys karma vashanam, the strong desire for fruitive activities. When I first read this, I only actually had to, and the translation, simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the devotees orally receive the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enacted in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve transcendental vision, in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Thus, they achieve freedom from the material world. For sense gratification, practically everyone is engaged in materialistic activities, which prolong the process of janma, mrityu, jara, vidi, birth, death, old age, and disease. But the devotee, simply by hearing the message of the Bhagavad Gita and further relishing the narrations of the Srimad Bhagavatam, becomes so pure that he no longer takes interest in materialistic activities. At the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness and becoming uninterested in materialistic activities. And therefore, people are trying to oppose this movement. But they cannot possibly check this movement or stop the activities of the devotees in Europe and America by their artificial impositions. Here, the words Srotranjaliya Upasprisya indicate that simply by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, the devotees become so pure that they are immediately immune to the contamination of materialistic fruitive activities. Anabilas sita sunyam, material activities are unnecessary for the soul. And therefore, the devotees are freed from such activities. The devotees are situated in liberation, and therefore they cannot be called back to their material homes and material activities. Wonderful verse. Om Jnana Tremendasya Jnana Kana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummalatam Yena Tashme Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachane Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Pashchitate Jatane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shivasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Am I still on screen here? I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, who is an ocean of mercy, has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I did not keep saying the prayers because I have to account for myself right up front on Om Jnana Tremendasya. When I first joined this movement, I did so because Radhanath Maharaj gave me his causeless mercy. And though he gave me full access to transcendental knowledge, After 10 years of traveling with wonderful devotees on Sankirtan, raising funds to help build New Vrindavan, I fell away. And it was an act of volition. I knew exactly what was going on. I could have had many excuses, but deep down inside, I knew enough from the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and all that I had heard from Maharaj, Prabhupada, and the other devotees. I had the best association. I had, as in this purport, very strong material desires. So let us read the translation again. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord. Now, the operative word here is receiving, and that is accepting Krishna's words and the words of Guru within one's heart. Oral reception doesn't just mean hearing, it means listening. It means allowing the seed to fructify within your heart. Bhakti yoga is a movement of the heart. It's not Jnana yoga. It's not a movement of philosophy, though we have it. And it's not karma yoga, a movement of good deeds, punya. Though we have that, we do that naturally. But it all comes from the essence of what this movement and Prabhupada's mission was all about. And that is the big why. That Krishna becomes what we truly desire. Not knowledge, not purificatory life, not dharma, not living, even though all those things come as a result of hearing about Krishna, we want to do what pleases Krishna. First and foremost, it says in the Bible, the first knowledge of God is awe and reverence, which means obedience, which means our desire becomes Krishna's desire. I mean, Krishna's desire becomes our desire. And then eventually, once we become pure, our desire becomes Krishna's desire. But let us first start. Our desire is what our Guru desires for us. And that is foremost by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears. Purified transcendental ears, we think, oh, I got to become purified. I got to go through this and that. I got to learn these shlokas. I got to commit them to memory, which is what I should have done in the 10 years in a van. I remember traveling with Adi Purush or Chandramali Maharaj and not liking to travel with them because it required that you had to have morning class, which meant that you couldn't get out at the big event and make more money. You could make more money and thus win the competition that was going on at New Vrindavan constantly, amongst the Sankirtan devotees. So fruit of activity was there in that service with me, especially. But because I, for many years, did not seriously take listening to the glories, the big why. Why am I in this movement? Why am I amongst the devotees? Why am I doing this service? And that is to get to know Krishna, because we can't love Krishna. We can't actually practice the essential nature of bhakti yoga, which is to fall in love with Krishna, unless we know Krishna. Now, these things happen simultaneously as we try to show our love by service and by selflessness and by serving the devotees. Krishna reveals himself with the torchlight of knowledge. He shines from within the heart. He says, here I am. And he may give you a shadow of himself. You might get a little ruchi, a little taste, when you're chanting his name, you might hang on to Krishna. You hang on to the name and you say, wow, I'm not just repeating syllables here. There's something here. There's some sweetness. And your heart becomes rested. It's no longer restless, and you're no longer full of anxiety. Prabhupada says the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed. So, that's sort of like you're tied up in this material world by the reactions, your karma, their bonds. Trust me, I was in the movement and I left, and for 20 years I engaged in such heavy fruitive activity. I built a business. I got married to the girl of my dreams. I had a son, a wonderful son, and I worked 18 hours a day like a mudha. I remember I had a wonderful home. I couldn't even make it home at night. At midnight, my business carries me into the late hours, and I would have to sleep in the van. I was still sleeping in a van. I slept in a van for 10 years in the movement, and then I left the movement to pursue material heavy-duty fruitive activities, and I still ended up sleeping in a van with the heat running, and it's so hot waking up or so cold in the winter. As Radhanath Maharaj says, and Prabhupada says, like an ass who's frothing at the mouth. I remember one time I woke up and the rearview mirror was facing me, and I was in the front seat in pain because I'd slept all night in the front seat of the van because I was so tired I couldn't crawl back into the back and lay down. That I had frothing at the mouth because I was dehydrated. So trust me, there's nothing out there. No matter how hard you work, you will suffer. And the more knowledge you have, the more you will suffer. Nobody suffers, Prabhupada says, but not the karmi, not the full-fledged karmi, because he's totally, Maya is playing a game. They don't know. They're deluded. They have no idea how much they're suffering. They do, but they have no idea. And the devotee, who's a devotee, who with purified transcendental senses, he doesn't suffer because he's surrendered to Krishna. He's constantly getting feedback and reciprocation from Krishna. The person who suffers the most is the person who's on the razor's edge. And that razor's edge, Prabhupada says, that will cut you. That razor's edge, simultaneously having material desires while practicing Krishna consciousness. Duplicity. And I lost my, hold on. Okay. So, when those bonds are cut, when we hear about Krishna, because we hear about the philosophy, but and we hear about how miserable the material world is. Even the karmis are somewhat familiar. They don't feel the full brunt. They do not zoom back enough, philosophically speaking, to see birth, death, old age, and disease. I remember seeing when I was young, when I left the movement, to the world to me, because I joined as a young person in college, very immature. The whole world was like a cornucopia. It was, I remember talking to Radhanath Maharaj right before when he went to India, back in the 1980s, New Vrindavan was a troubling time, and it was like shrapnel from that situation. And Radhanath Maharaj saw me one last time, and I didn't see him again for 20 years. I don't know why I'm talking about this. This is not sweet. This is not nectar, but I just want to show you what having materialistic desires, actually holding on to them, thinking that you can get away with it, because what Krishna does is he says, here, take them. And when you take those materialistic desires, and when you actually think that what Krishna is talking about, what the devotees are talking about, what Prabhupada is talking about the material world being a miserable place, if you say, well, I can make it not so miserable, I can make it work. I can have a little bit of Krishna here, and I can have a little bit of opulence and a little bit of sex life, but it doesn't work that way. I remember Radhanath Maharaj saying to me, I told him, I said, I just want to see the material world. I didn't, I was majoring in writing at the time, and you can't be a writer unless you can relate. Can't write if you can't relate. And I couldn't relate. I didn't want to write for the movement because I knew I couldn't write for the devotees. I couldn't even come close to what was being said. But I thought, hey, I got some gold here. I can take this gold and then create some fiction. It was so exciting. But I need to know what the world is like. And I remember Radhanath Maharaj giving me the Markandeya Rishi. Anybody know that pastime? Where Markandeya Rishi says Krishna comes, Vishnu comes before Markandeya, or Krishna himself comes before Markandeya Rishi and says, your austerities has pleased me so much, I'll give you anything you want. And Markandeya Rishi said, I want to see material nature. And just like on the battlefield with Arjuna, Krishna was silent and he smiled. It says Markandeya Rishi said, I want to see material, I want to see what it is. And Krishna smiled, and then all of a sudden, boom, and it came over him like a storm, and it swept him away, and he could barely keep himself afloat. And in the end, he ended up seeing Krishna, was it a banyan leaf? Sucking his toe. Beautiful Krishna. And just being in wonder and remembering Krishna and having a full dose of what the material world is. So we always have to remember the why we're reading this scripture. Why are we reading Krishna's Leela, the transcendental pastimes? Because we're getting to know Krishna. You have to understand that when you read the 10th canto, which we are going into, in Krishna's intimate pastimes with his devotees, the Sakas and Sakis, and Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and the demons, which, by the way, are in us, not outside us. That all these pastimes, they are there not only for Krishna. Krishna descends into this material world to please the devotees and to have fun. That's his Leela, it's his play. Trust me, as a fighter in college, there was nothing more enjoyable than fighting in the ring. Nothing, and winning. Afterwards you'd get done, you'd share blood, you'd hug each other like, good fight, man. There's nothing like a good fight. That's why some of Krishna's greatest devotees, Bhima, the two Jai and Vijay, they said, okay, Krishna, we will surrender. We will become your enemies. We will do battle. Krishna's like, yeah, let's do some battle. That's a great pleasure. It's just like the pleasure with the gopis, the pleasure with the things. So these pastimes, if you read them and inculcate them and take them into your heart, you will understand that they have this mystic ability to plant a seed of adoration and wonder and attraction. This is most important. Attraction. Krishna could have taken any name. He's taken millions and millions of names, but Prabhupada had us concentrate on Krishna, because that means he's all attractive. And what we come to learn is that Krishna, how we become attracted to Krishna. Now, we might not be able to see him. We might not be able to actually feel him in his holy name, but we can pause for a moment and understand that there is attraction in this world, that there is pleasure in this world. And we have to ask ourselves, whence from does this beauty, this attraction come from? Who is the reservoir of this personal, loving intimacy that we seek in others in this world? And we are brought on a simple philosophical understanding to the creator, Krishna. And then we are brought in his pastimes to understand that when Krishna took lunch with the Sakas, he showed himself in the center, and there were millions upon millions of his friends there sharing sharing prasad and sharing with each other. But every single Saka there, every single friend thought that Krishna, or did feel that Krishna was with him, was looking at him, was smiling with him, was sharing with him. Every gopi thought that Krishna was with her because Krishna was. So we have to understand that Krishna isn't in the distance, that Krishna is not Krishna is not something to be attained, that we attain him by our activities and our purification and our knowledge, but that simply by surrendering, by gradual affection, by taste, by steadiness in that taste, by remembrance. This all goes together. It doesn't happen just in a hierarchy that you leave behind remembrance. Once you get ruchi, the ruchi is in the remembrance. And then ruchi, that taste that everybody has, I know here, I can see it. Everybody is at least at the ruchi stage. Then you get bhav, you get affection, you get steadiness, because why wouldn't you want to keep showing up? Why wouldn't you want to keep serving? Why wouldn't you want to keep reading about Krishna and his beauty and his humor? So you become free. These bonds, these ropes fall off of you once you start reading and learning and remembering. That's what this verse is all about. Hearing these transcendental. I'm sorry, my computer keeps turning off on me. Let me find. I'll just pick up from anywhere and talk from there in the purport. Materialistic activities are unnecessary for the soul. Guess what? I know, take my word for it. I tried it. I tried it all the way. I remember Radhanath Swami says, oh, so when I said I want to see the material world, I want to go out there and take it all in. How am I going to become a writer if I don't know what's really going on? The world was a cornucopia, I said. It started here like, oh, material world, misery and stuff. But I was a young man. I was just like, like, look, this is all this fruit, this forest of delusion, like I thought I could do that. And Radhanath just shook his head and he goes, so it's not true. None of this is true until it happens to you. And I remember saying, yeah, it's not true until it happens to me. So if we do that, and you have spent any time with Krishna, trust me, that world will descend upon you like the ocean upon Markandeya Rishi, and you will suffer. That's the only thing that I can speak to. I don't know Krishna. I can't speak and tell you about the glories of Krishna. But I can tell you about Maya all day long. I can tell you about Maya. We were supposed to in our this got to be my first time around. We were supposed to. I see people like Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, and I'm just, what? How does he know all this, like, immediately, spontaneously? How does Adi Purush just keep on giving and giving and giving? And how do all you devotees who are effulgent? I look at you; you're all so effulgent and beautiful. It's like, and so I'm following you all. I've come to understand that it takes a great love to get Krishna. Prabhupada says materialistic activities are not are unnecessary for the soul. Not only are they unnecessary for the soul, but every time we engage in materialistic activities, it actually turns our face. It's ignorance. That's why I started this with Om Jnana Tremendasya. Ignorance is an act of volition. We actually turn away. We make a will. It is our desire to turn away from Krishna. It's an act of volition. That's how we came to this material world. We actually, somebody asked, how did we, if we were with Krishna, how is it that we ended up in this material world if Krishna is all beautiful? Because pushed. Krishna said, no, 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 don't. Prabhupada said this. He says, we forced Krishna. Prabhupada said, we forced Krishna's hand. We said, come on, let me try it out. And so therefore, here we are. Here I am. So when we become no longer interested in materialist activities because we get a higher taste. And it's a very simple process. It's just stay by those that have a higher taste. And how do you know those people who have a higher taste? Is because they're happy. They're happy and they're steady and they're full of affection. And you feel always welcome to be in their presence. And you feel like you're home in their presence. So I don't have much more to say about this. Are there any questions, comments, ponderings? Please help me out here.
Bhima, in the chat, people are asking, how did you come back? How did you come back? You know, we're here basking in Radhanath Swami's grace. He's inspiring us, sustaining us, encouraging us. And when every time you mention Radhanath Swami, everybody goes, whoa, whoa, he's got some direct, experience with Maharaj. But they're asking in the chat, how did you come back?
Okay, so I got I'm going to use some French here. I got my ass kicked time and time and time again. I could tell pastimes of that. That's why I said I know Maya. I know Maya. She's got those 3 prongs, man. I felt each one of them big time, and I kept trying to. I remember Dave Amrita Swami when I was having those trouble. He goes, "Why do you keep trying to shoulder fake Krishna, run down field? Like you try to do when Krishna reaches out for you, go like this with your shoulder. You try to run around him, And I try to do that around. You can't do that around the three material adhyatmic, adhibodhic, adhidaivic. It keeps doing it, and after a while, like Queen Kunti says, Janmashvaras Shruta Shrabir. My Lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself in whatever way, cannot approach Krishna with sincere feeling. So after gaining everything a person could possibly want, trust me, I got everything I wanted. In the end, I was like, I don't feel like I felt living in a van, sleeping in a sleeping bag, in a parking. I used to go to bed every night when I was traveling, knowing full well that I was giving as much, maybe not my heart of hearts, but I was giving as much as I could to Krishna's service. And I would go to bed at night and say to myself, I would inquire to myself, am I happy? Am I content? And I would say, I am fully content. I am eating split pea soup day after day after day, cooked in a cooker on the road. We're driving 108 miles per hour every day from event to event. Never exhausted, never ran out of energy, never. That energy was constantly being given over. Krishna just gave it. And we did miracles. There were Adi Purush can say, there are miracles. Anybody who distributes books, anybody who does anything in Krishna's service, every day you guys get those miracles, that mystical reciprocation from Krishna. But none of that was there in material life. None of it. It goes away. The iron curtain. See, one thing I learned, the true thing I learned, the magic that I learned was about Maya. It's an iron curtain. I didn't see another devotee. I hung with devotees, the best devotees in the land in America for 10 years. And then for 20, not because I didn't want to, but because I pursued material activities so vehemently, I did not see another devotee for 20 years. How I came back was I said that it just came down to my heart was breaking. It just broke. I had had enough. I just said, even though I have everything externally, I have nothing in me. There's nothing there. And I was miserable. My wife was just like, you're so bitter. You're so bitter. because that's what the taste was. It was just, I had everything a person could materially want: a beautiful wife, a wonderful son, land, a business, my own business, everything. And yet my heart was bitter. And I came to a point where I just started chanting again on the road. I just started, no beads, just driving. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, because I was in tears. Like, I can't take this anymore. And I didn't want to surrender. I wasn't going to go back. I was so attached. And I'll end this here in regards to this answer. I remember one time, anyways, I'll go back a little bit. And I started chanting, and I said, you know what? I hadn't seen a devotee for 20 years. I didn't even know the movement even existed. Think about that. That's Maya. Okay. For 20 years, from 1990 to 2010, I didn't know that the movement existed. Okay. This is Maya. This is that magic. And then all of a sudden I started chanting. And then all of a sudden a thing came, what about Radhanath Maharaj? Whatever happened to him? And then for the first time, I Googled Radhanath Maharaj, and he was like on a book tour, and he was coming back through America, and he was coming to Boston right then, right when I was looking for him. And I went to see him. I'm sorry. And I can't, I'm, I
What did he say?
can't. I said, thank you for bringing me out of that, because I was feeling everything. I said, Maharaj, am I still Bhima? I said, Maharaj, it's me, Bhima. I didn't look anything. I don't look anything like I did back then. I'm a complete mess. I'm still a mess. And in front of everybody, it was Boston University. He had given a lecture in front of hundreds of people. I walked up to him after he left the podium, and I go, Maharaj, it's me, Bhima. And he just grabbed me. He hugged me and lifted me off my feet. And the rest of the night, he wouldn't let me go. Wherever he just kept me. He grabbed onto my shirt, and he just wouldn't let me go. And he says, yes, you're still Bhima. And he wouldn't let me go. And that's all I have. That's my only qualification. I'm sorry, what an idiot I am. It's all I got. I'm such a fool. I'm just here to tell you, just don't do foolish. Don't. I swear to God. I swear to Krishna. If you read about Krishna, it's real. Krishna is real. He's real. He's so beautiful. Just think about it. Whatever moves you in this world, the beauty of a sunrise, the beauty of an animal's eyes, the beauty of a man or a woman, forms, all this variety is in Krishna, and it's ever increasing. All I can say is don't turn away. There's nothing over here. If you have any doubt, you're also young. You're also passionate. You're in New York City. There's so much passion around you. I go for walks, japa walks with my dogs, and riding with the horses and stuff. And, you know, just look at nature, look at a leaf on a tree. It's just a wonder. It's all a wonder. And Krishna is there. Just always remember Krishna, and no matter what you're doing, you don't have, if you always remember Krishna, guess what? You don't have to worry about forgetting Krishna. Just always remember Krishna. Find him everywhere, in a leaf, a flower, a fruit, in taste, in the drinking water. I remember saying to Radhanath Maharaj, I can't stay married. My wife wants to go out. My wife wants to do this. wants to go to a restaurant. There's people eating meat at the restaurant. He goes, then pick up a glass of water, drink the water, and say to yourself, Krishna is the taste of water. That's what he said. When I was complaining about having to take my wife out, he said, then just keep Krishna with you at all times. Remember Krishna in a glass of water at the table. So I have nothing more to say. I'm sorry. Does anybody have anything to say to expand more Krishna consciously on these things? I didn't know I was going to go here. What a fool.
Bhima Prabhu, thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
your beautiful devotional sentiments. It's so touching, so moving and inspiring. Thank you very much for this. And everybody is appreciating your talk.
Well, just remember that. Just try to remember your Guru Maharaj, whoever he may be, and especially Prabhupada. They love you so much. Krishna loves you so much. And he will kick your ass if you turn away. He will. He'll kick your ass. And he'll do it sweetly. He'll make you bleed until you surrender. So don't.
That's a
Bhima
great
Prabhu.
comment.
Yes.
Sorry, Bhima Prabhu. I'm so inspired by you, and I'm going to turn my camera on for a second because I'm walking. I dug into my closet. I was listening to find my Bhima Prabhu hat on this cold day. Thank you so much for your story, and I'm literally going to wear you as I go out into the weather today. So thank you. I disagree with your wife about your other class. I thought it was amazing. Sorry, half my face is thing. But this was amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you. I got
Hare
you on my
Krishna.
head. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shikshastika
Does
Prabhu
anybody
has-
want to?
Yeah,
share.
Shikshastika Prabhu had
Please
his
share.
hand raised. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhima.
Hey, brother.
Hare Krishna. I
Hare
used to
Krishna,
travel with
brother.
you and Chandramauli. Remember? In the van?
Yeah.
And you were, it was quite a contrast in different personalities between you and Chandramauli and Dino. That
Yeah,
was
Dino.
Yeah, it was quite a combination.
Holy smokes. Those were the times,
Yeah.
brother. Those were
But,
the times.
You know, thank you for your wonderful story and your appreciation of devotees. It's the devotees are the only thing we have, pretty much. You know, that's our only connection. It's a very personal process, this Krishna consciousness, and so you know, I just remember a verse from the Shrimana Shiksha. Raghunath Das says, if you want to really live in Vrindavan with Radha and Krishna, a beautiful, youthful couple, just remember with clarity, Rupa Goswami, Sarup Damodar, and their associates. And, you know, if you do that every morning, then you can actually enter into those pastimes, because the devotees are the only people that can actually give us access to those, especially the most intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya. So they're so valuable that and in 1/11 of a second association with the devotee is more valuable than anything. So thank you for helping us appreciate the value of a devotee like Radhanath Swami. It's very nice.
All of you. All of you. All of you. Just who was it that said hell is not having the association of devotees? Right? The only hell is non-association with devotees. Been there.
Right.
Who's next? Anybody else? Are we way past our time?
No, it's 8:01. I just wanted to reflect quickly. I really liked how you put it. Krishna will kick your ass. I think this is a good title for today's class. Don't go there. There's nothing.
Are you gonna put an asterisk on like the A or the one of the S's? Are you gonna spell it out like it is?
Put a peach.
Yeah.
A
Pray about
peach.
it.
That's a great one. Yes. Yeah, and
Does
you know what?
Does
This
anybody
is the
have a
thing.
reflection or a comment? Dear
Yeah.
devotees,
Please.
unmute yourself. I mean, we have so many appreciations in the chat board. Everybody loves the story. Kartik, Isabel, Amish,
Were there-
Athena,
Yeah.
Preeti, Andrea. Yeah, thank you, Bhima Prabhu. It's very inspiring, very hope-giving.
Well, I'm just telling you what not to do. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you don't do it. Don't even stick your hand anywhere near if you should be tempted to think I can enjoy. Krishna personally takes it. Once you become a devotee, Krishna personally takes your rectification into his hands. And that's another way to remember Krishna. You know, if you're introspective enough to know, and we all do, that when we deviate, when we allow ourselves to become interrupted, unmotivated and uninterrupted, when we allow ourselves to so-called take the edge off of devotional service and engage in some sort of sense gratification. Okay. My wife, to get my attention, comes down and took my wallet off the table. That I was like, right? I have 150 bales of hay that are arriving in 15 minutes that I have to hump on my back. I don't have to go now, but in 15 minutes, which we will be done in 15 minutes, I have to put in a loft. This is a mudha, the work of a mudha. Bales of hay, I gotta put into a loft. They weigh 65 pounds apiece.
Wow.
And I'm 60 years old. Aren't I great? Anyways, I forget. Oh yeah. So if you engage in sense gratification, if you're gonna, well, not if you're gonna, but if you do, understand. Hey, go ahead and do it. Bhima's told you how to do it. But anyways, just watch how Krishna. I mean, if you do it insincerely, if you really think you can get something over on Krishna, you got another thing coming. But let's just say you do so by just conditioning. If you find yourself doing something based on habit, watch, pay attention, wait for Krishna to inform you. You know, Krishna has his hand out like this. Come here, come. Let me embrace you. Let me take you back home. They used to say the Sika. Oops,
Oh,
hold on. Am I here?
Yeah.
Okay. They used to say the Sika was for Krishna to grab and pull you back to Godhead. Krishna has his hand out. He'll grab you. He'll do that. Sometimes Krishna has the back of his hand. Okay. I swear. That's what I get. Actually, he's got it closed, and he comes and he gets it right in these two knuckles here. When you balk, you turn your fist over so that these two knuckles dig right into the liver, into the chin, right on the button, right? Krishna will do that. If you just that's how you can remember Krishna. If you do something bad, don't go, oh, I've done something terrible. But just remember that you know, pay attention. Krishna is there. Krishna will rectify, quickly set you straight.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Bhima Prabhu. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Very nice, lively, entertaining, inspiring, heartfelt class. Unbelievably moving. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sorry about being a blithering fool. I didn't know that was going to come up.
Oh, you're wonderful. You're wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for
All
tuning in.
glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the devotees. All glories to you.
Yeah, all glories to every one of you. See you again tomorrow. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Have a wonderful
Hare
day.
Krishna.
Good luck with your workout. And
Hare
thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.